they don't
people
respect
of a
you
certain
and
socioeconomic level, yeah. But and also, like my heart goes out to parents with black children that you have to tell your kids, teach your kids not to basically stand up for their rights if they're stopped by the cops, right? Whereas I can tell my kids who are white, the police don't have the right to do certain things, right?
Yeah.
But my kids, there's a much lower chance of my kids getting shot by the police than someone who has.
Well, it's also, if I can chime in, I think it's also, like, what is the whole purpose? Why would the cops pull people over in the first place? You know what I mean? Why are they monitoring? What are they really policing at the end of the day?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
it's a
saying?
big thing that we're,
like,
that,
what
that
are
a
they?
lot of us are asking for. Like the message sometimes gets diluted in the media to like we want to replace police interventions with other types of intervention, but most police interventions we just want to get rid of them. There's no reason why people living their lives need to interact with police against their consent every day, all day. There's no reason people need to get pulled over for no reason. There's no reason we need to pay an army of police officers to patrol downtown and surveil Indigenous people.
It's kind of like remember in school they had the hall monitor, and it's kind of like
except they were not
exactly right. So you know what I mean, like.
But I would like to.
But I mean they're be available.
Something about the crazy drivers in Montreal.
Exactly.
Crazy drivers in Montreal. I would like them to focus on that.
I mean, potentially, yes, and maybe it's not the police that we need for that. Maybe we need like systems to better direct traffic. Now, it's actually, as someone who's driven in a large city, I find that Montreal drivers are the most polite than I've seen any other city.
You think so? I know.
We do a zipper merge here.
I've driven in New York and LA, so I know.
Cities where we zipper merge properly.
There you go. Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Very honored. Nice to meet you. And Sandra, thanks for the jumping in there. I'm not a great interviewer. There you go.
C'est bon? Ok. Bonjour. Bonjour. Ouais, ok. Bonjour. Merci d'être là. Je sais pas si je suis appropriée pour ça, mais bon, voilà. Avant de commencer, en fait, on va reconnaître le territoire sur lequel on est. Donc, nous reconnaissons que cet événement prend place sur un territoire autochtone, lequel n'a jamais été cédé. Nous reconnaissons la nation ghanéenne comme gardienne des terres et des eaux que nous occupons aujourd'hui. Chauchaké, Montréal, est historiquement connu comme un lieu de rassemblement pour de nombreuses Premières Nations. Et alors que nous nous rassemblons sur ces terres pour dénoncer le racisme systémique et la brutalité policière, nous nous devons de reconnaître leur implication dans l'héritage colonial canadien, de même que notre position en tant qu'occupants de ces terres non cédées. Nous reconnaissons la colonisation continue, de même que le racisme et les injustices auxquelles font face les Premières Nations sur leur propre terre. Nous reconnaissons également que des milliers de personnes afrodescendantes ont été mises en esclavage, déplacées et policées sur ce même territoire. En effet, la présence des communautés noires canadiennes est directement liée aux logiques capitalistes et suprémacistes blanches qui ont motivé la colonisation américaine et caribéenne, par les peuples européens, la mise en esclavage des peuples afrodescendants par les peuples européens afin de construire sur les terres qu'elles avaient volées. De même que la colonisation continue de nos terres et du continent vert. Nous vous invitons donc à apprendre plus sur l'impact continu de la colonisation du peuple autochtone de l'île de la Tortue, connu sous son nom colonial de Canada, et à vous renseigner sur ce pan de l'histoire canadienne et québécoise. Hello guys, so we're going to do it in English as well. So we recognize that this event is taking place on unceded Indigenous territory, the Ghanaian Gay Haga Khan Nation as the guardian of these lands and waters that we occupy today. Chiltake, Montreal is historically a land of gathering and meeting for many First Nations. And while we come together on this land to denounce systemic racism and police brutality, we must acknowledge the roots in Canadian colonial heritage. As we speak as a role as settlers on this land, we recognize that colonization as well as racism and injustice perpetrated against Indigenous people on their homeland is ongoing. We also recognize that thousands of Afro-descendants have been enslaved, displaced, and displaced on the same territory. The presence of Black communities in Canada is directly linked with the organized capitalist and white supremacist efforts that have motivated the colonization of Turtle Island by Europeans. The subsequent enslavement of Afro-descendants to build on the land they stole, as well as continued colonization of our land and motherland. We invite you to learn more on ongoing impacts of the colonization of indigenous people of Turtle Island, known by its colonial name Canada, and continue to explore this part of Canadian and Quebecois history daily audiences. Thank you.
So you're part of the.
Yeah, my partner is one of the coalition, a member of the coalition.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm here to.
So yeah, also part of it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's my friend as well, Marleanne. She's cool.
Okay, good.
Yeah. If you step more this way with the megaphone, it will feedback so much.
This way?
Yeah, just come more towards me. Yeah.
This statement is made on behalf of Bridget Tolley and Justice for Victims of Police Killings. Bridget is the daughter of Gladys Tolley, killed by an SQ police cruiser almost 2 decades ago. Thank you for inviting me to speak in this way on the traditional lands of the Kahanahati and Wendat today. I have been seeking justice for my mother's death for 19 years now. I regret that I can't attend in person as I do not live in Montreal anymore, but I am glad to share this speech with you. I would like to start by expressing my outrage at the police killing of Sheffield Matthews here in NDG on October 29th. As a family member myself of someone killed by the police, I send my heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Sheffield Matthews. We marched together just this past October 24th in Montreal to denounce police killings and impunity, and tragically 5 days later, the SPBM proved that they continue to act with impunity with the killing of Sheffield. Individuals in crisis should not be shot and killed. They deserve compassion and dignity and proper services. Sheffield Matthews' killing is nothing less than the expression of racist police impunity, just like the previous police killings here in NDG, of Nicholas Gibbs in 2018 and of Anthony Griffin in 1987. Justice for Victims of Police Killings was originally made up of the families and friends of my mother, Gladys Tolley, killed by the SQ in Kittigan, ZB in 2001. Ben Maxon, killed by the Vancouver Police in 2002. Mohamed Anas Benis, killed by the Montreal Police in 2005. Claudio Castagneta, killed by the Quebec City Police in 2007. Clem Regis, killed by the Montreal Police in 2007. And Freddy Villanueva, killed by the Montreal Police in 2008. We were demanding, among other things, access to key police information for the families, independent investigation of police killings, and an end to police impunity. Justice for police
2011. Patrick Limoges, 2011. Farshad Mohammed, 2012. Jean-François Nadreau, 2012. Donald Menard, 2013. Alain Mécoulard, 2014. Guy Blouin, killed by the SPDQ, 2014. Brandon Maurice, killed by the SQ in Messine, 2015. Bonnie Jean Pierre, 2016. Abdirahman Abdi, killed by the Ottawa Police, 2016. Corneille Selick, 2017. Pierre Coriolan, 2017. Nicholas Gibbs, killed by the Montreal Police in 2018, not too far from this location. And now, tragically, Sheffield Matthews, killed here in NDG on October 29th, 2020. There are more people we can name. I take the time on behalf of Justice for Victims of Police Killings to give the names of the people killed by the police because memory is one of our important weapons in the fight for justice and dignity. We should never forget the names and the lives of the victims of police brutality and impunity. Their names and their lives are the roots of our resistance. 10 years after our justice for police killings, for victims of police killings vigil, despite the creation of the Bureau d'Enquête Indépendant in Quebec in 2016, it is clear that very little has changed. Police officers continue to kill with impunity, particularly people in crisis, Black, Indigenous, and people of color. For these reasons and more, we need to gather like this to commemorate and to support the families and friends who are continuing to struggle against police brutality and impunity. No justice, no peace. I want to say a few words about my dear mother, Gladys Tully. Was only 61 years old when she was struck and killed by Sûreté du Québec police cruiser while crossing the road in our community of Kitigan, Zibi. While our large family grieved our beloved